Let's move back to politics and the economy here for a moment. There is angry fallout today over President Obama's sort of joking manner about a very large program that was supposed to jumpstart the U.S. economy and create jobs. Now, when the president met with his Jobs Council yesterday, he made sort of a joke about the shovel-ready projects that were promised in the $800 billion stimulus plan.
I'm sure that when you implemented the Recovery Act, your staff briefed you on many of the challenges of the permitting process and the impact on putting Americans back to work. And that's exactly what we see in American business as well.
Shovel ready was not as shovel ready as we expected.
All right. Well, there was laughter from the other folks on the dais there as well as they tried to sort of get over an awkward moment there in the room. Lars Larson joins me now, syndicated radio talk show host, and Rob Thompson, also a radio talk show host. Gentlemen, good to have you here today.
Hello, Martha.
Rob, what did you make of that moment?
I thought it was a moment of levity when you actually look at what Obama was facing. I think many times when you run for office, you do have plans for grand ideas, but when you get down to the nitty-gritty, to the local level, you realize that the red tape, the issues that you're dealing with are well beyond what you are concerned with. We do know this. The money was made available to all the municipalities, to all the different states. It was a matter of whether they were going to take it and use it. And the problem that they've run into is when you talk shovel-ready is how are they going to use the shovels? The shovels were prepared. The program was there. It was the local areas that refused to take advantage of the money, and if they did, they put it in a long line of different things, far away from what President Obama wanted to do with the stimulus package.
Yeah, I'm just looking at a message that somebody's tweeted to me moments ago that said, you know, when you spend $800 billion, you better understand the regulatory environment that you're throwing that money into, and that this is a very large issue to have said and this man who asked this question, Lars, let me put this to you. Implicit in his question was, you know, I'm sure, you know, President Obama, you understand, and I'm sure people went over this with you when you launched this program, that it's very tough to get through a lot of the red tape when you actually try to put this money to work.
But see,
yes,
that's
absolutely.
where I think this is baloney. Because, number one, of the $860 billion, only $30 billion went into infrastructure, roads, bridges, and other forms of infrastructure. The rest of it basically went into the pockets of unions, Martha. And what the man was saying to the president
Lars,
was,
that is
I'm sure you understand.
Lars,
hold on, Rob.
Lars.
Hold on, Rob. Rob, let me finish. What he was saying was, Mr. President, government regulations are keeping us from getting business going. The president keeps loading regulations on. That's hurting our ability to get back to work. And most of that money, Rob, 5% went for infrastructure. The rest went as political payoffs. Frankly, I think President Obama should join Congressman Weiner in the unemployment line with 13 million other Americans.
All right. Well, that's a whole nother story. We're not going to get into that here for right now. But hold on, Rob. Before Rob, let me just go to sort of the heart of this in some ways. There's been an accusation about President Obama that he's out of touch with this to a certain extent. And that may be reflected, you know, even in that moment of levity and that ability to sort of say like, well, gee, you know, it didn't really work out the way we hoped, you know, and just it reminded me of a time several years ago during a correspondence dinner when the Bush administration showed a video that made fun of searching for weapons of mass destruction under tables and places in the White House. The joke went over like a lead balloon because the American people do not like to joke about things that are of great serious nature to them. And I think that's why, you know, this moment and that little levity, and, you know, it may be, you know, I'm sure it's not the way that he intended for it to come out, but it does smack of not getting it. That's the problem.
No. But I think that the president does get it. Let's look at the numbers as they stand. As we are right now, 75,000 different projects have started across the United States. They've either been obligated or contracted to get moving. For every dollar that has been invested, we expect $1.50 back in ripple effect for that to return. So the money has been out there and it has been spent.
And
that
2.5 years,
Lars, is an absolute fallacy. Money has gone from airports to highways to the EPA to clean water and air to a variety of different programs. Job Corps, all of these monies have been out there and are available. So you have to make sure that when you throw these numbers out there, that you are telling the truth. And Lars, you're not.
Rob is uninformed. $30 billion of the $860 went to airports, bridges, roads, and other infrastructure. The rest of it went somewhere else. And the fact is, the president was laughing. He laughs that nervous laugh when he doesn't know what to say because he is a theoretician. He's a former professor, and all of this, I guess, Keynesian nonsense works on paper, but in the real world, borrowing money from China and spending it on make-work jobs in America does not make the economy go. And 2.5 years later, we have 2 million fewer employed.
And the issue that was brought up even then was that this bill was, sort of created in Congress out of, the president's direct oversight, and that a lot of pork barrel projects got plunged into that $800 billion stimulus plan and answered a lot of things that people had wanted to get passed for some time, and then it didn't go to stimulative measures. So, this is the debate
Martha,
we're having.
One final point.
Very
one
quickly,
final
if you can,
point before we go any further. As we talk about this, let's go back to 2009, when now Speaker of the House Dick Boehner was talking about Ohio. He praised the federal government for stepping in and helping his state of Ohio for getting things done and making sure his highway program was taken care of by that very federal stimulus plan, because his own state could not get it taken care of.
Everybody likes it when the money comes to their state. There's no doubt about that.
Because of the regulations that he had a part of.
All right,
so
guys, we got to leave it there.
Lars
and Rob,
Thanks,
we'll pick
Martha.
this up again next week, shall we? Thank you very much, gentlemen. Good to see you as always.
Thank you, guys.